Every story leaves something behind. A whisper, a shadow, a question that was never answered. Here, we dig through the forgotten files, the unsolved mysteries, the chilling true crimes, and the horrors people wish had stayed buried. From haunted legends to real-life nightmares, every tale is pulled straight from the horror archives. So turn down the lights, put on your headphones, and step carefully, because once a story enters the horror archives, it never truly leaves. The after party is supposed to be the end of the night, the part where the noise dies down and you start picking up the mess. But sometimes, after everyone leaves, you realize something is still there that shouldn't be. These 3 stories were sent in by viewers who hosted or attended parties and came home to find that the night wasn't over yet. This first story is called The Playlist That Kept Going. It was sent in by a listener who noticed something strange about a Bluetooth speaker after a small get-together. It's one of those stories where the threat isn't loud, it's patient. The music was still playing when I got back to my apartment. That was the first thing that didn't make sense, because I'd turned the speaker off before I left for the party 6 hours ago. It was a Bluetooth speaker on my kitchen counter, the little blue light pulsing softly in the dark. The song playing wasn't from any playlist I recognized. It was slow, ambient, almost like someone humming over static. I'd hosted a small get-together the weekend before, maybe 12 people, mostly co-workers and a few friends of friends. Nothing wild. People brought drinks, we ordered food, everyone was gone by 1 in the morning. I cleaned up the next day, put everything back in order, and that was supposed to be the end of it. But the following Thursday, I came home from a late shift to find the speaker on. I picked up my phone and checked the Bluetooth connections. The speaker was paired to a device I didn't recognize. The name was just a string of numbers, not a phone model, not a nickname, just 12 digits. I disconnected it, turned the speaker off, and honestly tried not to think about it. The next night, it happened again. Same song, same slow, tuneless humming over a low drone. This time I checked my apartment. Every window was locked. The front door was locked. Nothing was out of place. I unplugged the speaker entirely and shoved it in a drawer. 2 days later, Saturday morning, I found the drawer open. The speaker was back on the counter, plugged in, playing. I live alone. I have no pets. There is no building maintenance scheduled, and my landlord confirmed no one had accessed my unit. I changed my locks that afternoon. I also installed a cheap security camera pointed at my front door. That night, I went to a friend's place to sleep. When I checked the camera footage the next morning, the feed was normal until around 3 a.m. At 3:12, the camera caught audio of the speaker turning on. The same song, but the camera faces the door, not the kitchen. I could only hear it. No one entered through the front door all night. I went home and checked every inch of that apartment. Under the bed, inside the closets, behind the shower curtain. Nothing. But when I opened the app connected to the speaker, I found something I hadn't noticed before. The playback history showed the same song had been playing every night for 11 days. Starting the night of the party, I scrolled through the history. 11 entries. Every single one started between 3:10 and 3:15 a.m. Every single one played for exactly 47 minutes. I don't use that speaker anymore. I threw it away. But last week, I woke up at 3:14 in the morning to a sound I couldn't identify at first. It was faint, almost like it was coming from inside the walls. A low hum, and someone, not quite singing, but almost breathing in rhythm. I haven't had anyone over since. I don't think I want to know who connected to that speaker. What scares me more is the thought that maybe they never actually left. That one settles in slowly. The idea that something routine, something you use every day, could become a sign that you're not as alone as you think. This next story takes that feeling and puts it somewhere more concrete. This one is called The Jacket on the Stairs. A college student finds a coat that no one claims after a house party, and then it starts showing up in places it shouldn't be. There was a jacket draped over the banister when I woke up the morning after the party, and it wasn't one I recognized. That's normal enough. People leave things behind. What wasn't normal was that I'd already done a full sweep of the house before going to bed, and that jacket was not there at 4 a.m. when I locked the front door. I'd thrown a birthday party for my roommate at our rental house just off campus. Maybe 35 people came through over the course of the night. It was a Saturday, mid-October, so people were dressed in layers. Jackets and hoodies piled up on the couch, on chairs, on the floor by the door. By the time people filtered out around 3, the house was trashed in the usual way, cups everywhere, a broken picture frame, someone's shoe in the bathroom sink. My roommate passed out upstairs, and I spent the next hour picking up the worst of it. I specifically remember walking past the staircase banister multiple times. There was nothing on it. The jacket was a dark green canvas coat, oversized like a men's large. It smelled like cigarettes and something else, something damp and sour, like wet soil. I checked the pockets. In the left pocket, there was a folded receipt from a gas station about 40 miles outside of town, dated 2 days before the party. In the right pocket, there was a single key. Not a car key, a house key, brass slightly worn. I texted the group chat and asked if anyone left a green jacket. No one claimed it. I posted on my Instagram story. Nothing. I asked my roommate if she recognized it. She didn't. That should have been the end of it. But 3 nights later, I was home alone studying when I heard the back door rattle. Not like wind, like someone testing the handle. I froze, turned off my desk lamp and listened. It stopped. I checked the door. Locked. Dead bolted. I looked out the window into the backyard, but it was too dark to see anything past the porch light's reach. The next morning, I found a muddy footprint on the back porch steps. Just one, pointed toward the door. I started locking every window after that, checking the doors twice before bed. A week went by with nothing. I almost forgot about it. Then I came home from class on a Wednesday afternoon, and something felt wrong the second I stepped inside. The air smelled different, that same damp, sour smell from the jacket. I walked through every room. Nothing was taken, nothing was moved. But when I got to the staircase, I stopped. The jacket was back on the banister. I had put it in a donation bag in the garage 5 days earlier. I checked the garage. The donation bag was still there, tied shut, but the jacket was inside the house, draped in the exact same position as before. I called my roommate. She was at the library. She hadn't been home all day. I called the campus police, and they did a walkthrough but found no signs of forced entry. One of the officers told me it was probably a prank. He said it with a straight face, like that was supposed to be comforting. I took the key from the jacket pocket and tried it on our front door, just on instinct. It didn't fit. I tried the back door. It didn't fit either. But when I tried the door to the basement, the one we kept padlocked from the outside, because the landlord told us the space was unfinished and not part of our lease, the key slid in like it was made for it. I didn't open it. I called the landlord instead. He told me there was no key to that door. He said the lock had been changed before we moved in. We broke our lease 2 weeks later. I never opened that basement door. I don't know what was down there, and honestly, I don't know if something was coming up. Some stories end with a door you never open, and maybe that's the smart thing. But this one doesn't give you that choice. The door was already open for you. This final story is called The Guest Who Left Last. A woman finds a photo on her phone, one she didn't take, of herself asleep. This is the most disturbing submission we received for this video. I found a photo on my phone that I didn't take. It was a picture of me, asleep in my bed, taken from the doorway of my bedroom. The timestamp said 5:47 a.m., the morning after the party. I need to explain the layout of my apartment because it matters. It's a 1-bedroom on the 3rd floor of a small building. 1 entrance, 1 hallway. The bedroom is at the end of that hallway, and from the doorway, you can see straight to the bed. The photo was taken from exactly that angle. My bedroom door had been open. The party was at my friend Derek's place 2 floors down. It was a New Year's thing. Maybe 20 people crammed into his apartment. I went down around 9, came back up around 4:30 in the morning. I was drunk but not blackout. I remember locking my door. I remember brushing my teeth. I remember getting into bed. I didn't discover the photo until 2 days later, when I was scrolling through my camera roll. It was nestled between a blurry group shot from midnight and a picture of my cat from the next afternoon, just sitting there, me unconscious, blankets pulled up to my chin, mouth slightly open. The lighting was dim, just the hallway light bleeding in. My first thought was that I must have accidentally taken it somehow. Sleep selfie, something stupid, but the angle was wrong. The phone would have had to be held at chest height, standing in the doorway, pointed directly at the bed from about 8 feet away. I was under the covers. Both my hands were tucked in. I checked if anyone else had my phone that night. I'd had it in my back pocket the whole time at the party. I never set it down, but here's the thing. My phone uses Face ID, and it was unlocked when the photo was taken. I checked the settings. The phone was successfully unlocked at 5:46 a.m., 1 minute before the photo. Someone held my phone to my sleeping face, waited for it to unlock, and then took a photo of me from the doorway. I tore the apartment apart. I checked the closets, under the bed, behind the shower curtain, inside the coat closet by the front door. Nothing, no signs of forced entry. Nothing missing, nothing moved. But when I checked the front door, I noticed something that made my stomach drop. The deadbolt was locked. The chain was not. I always set the chain. It's muscle memory. The only way the chain wouldn't be set is if someone had left after I'd locked the deadbolt from inside. That's not possible. You can't set a chain from outside, which means either I forgot, and I don't forget, or someone was already inside when I locked up, and they left after I fell asleep. But they locked the deadbolt behind them using a key I don't have copies of. I asked Derek if everyone at the party was accounted for. He said mostly, but there were a few plus ones he didn't know well. One guy in particular, he couldn't remember his name, said he was quiet, showed up with someone's girlfriend's coworker, spent most of the night leaning against the kitchen wall just watching people. Derek said he didn't see him leave. I pulled up the building's front entrance camera, logs through the management office. At 4:22 a.m., I'm visible entering the building and heading upstairs. At 5:58 a.m., 11 minutes after the photo was taken, a figure exits through the front door. They're wearing a dark hoodie, hood up, face turned away from the camera. They walk out calmly, no rush. They don't look back. The building manager said the front door requires a fob to enter but not to exit, so someone could have followed me in or come in with the party crowd earlier and just stayed. I changed my locks. I got a door camera. I filed a police report, but there was nothing they could do with a blurry security clip and a photo on my own phone. But here's the part that still keeps me awake. About a month later, I was deep cleaning and moved my bed frame for the first time since I'd moved in. Behind the headboard, pressed flat against the wall, I found a small piece of paper. It was torn from a receipt, and on the back someone had written in neat, small handwriting, "You look different when you sleep." I don't know when that was placed there. I don't know if it was from that night or from before. And that's the part that really gets to me, because it means this might not have been the first time.
And that's where tonight's file closes, but the archives are far from empty. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe and join us as we uncover more horrors, mysteries, and true crimes hidden in the horror archives. Until next time, keep the lights low, keep listening, because you never know what story we'll uncover next.